righty, gang, here we go. It's Friday. That means we bring in a special guest for Friday, and this guy is pretty special in my world. Max, how you doing today?
Doing great. How are you, Dave? Thank you for
I'm
having
doing
me.
I'm doing good. I got to talk a little bit about business for a minute, and then we're going to get into your interview here. But gang,
Great.
I don't know if you saw or not the Fish and Game Commission meetings. We kind of put a little bit of stuff out there. We just got done. They just wrapped up yesterday, but those of you that watched it, unbelievable. They elected that Eric guy. He's the president now of the commission. My buddy, my pal. So there you go. We got that. We got so much stuff going on. And if you watched what they were talking about the last couple days, these people are out of their flipping minds, gang. They are so excited about these wolves, that there's wolves in California. They were having like a celebration. All these people coming up on and speaking into the mic and talking about wolves. I don't think, and I listen to these people, I don't think they really understand. A wolf is a monster. The wolves don't live in California because we live in people. Wolves and people don't live together, gang. And I don't know where they got all distorted, but these are the same people that want to bring the grizzly bear back to California. There's a reason why wolves and grizzly bears don't live here. I mean, I just find it ludicrous. And then they also brought up the slaughter of the deers on Catalina, which I'm totally against. I'm not to bring the wolves back. I'm not bringing grizzlies back, but I am totally against destroying the population of the mule deer on Catalina. That is unbelievable. So if you haven't watched any of the commission meetings, go look at them again. They were recorded, and they're there for the whole world to see. You can go look at them. But yeah, and then MPAs. They talk about MPAs. They think that the MPAs are the greatest thing to ever happen to the ocean. It's absolute ludicrous, gang. We got to pay attention to what they're doing. We got to do our due diligence. We got to make sure that they do not allow any more MPAs in California. It's just absolutely ludicrous. We were told when the MPAs went into effect 18 years ago or whatever it was, there wouldn't be any more. And we gave up a lot of the California coastline to MPAs. Now we got the 30 by 30 coming down the pipe. They're going to take 30% of our land waterways away from us, and they're going to take another 18% of the ocean away from us. And then on top of that, they want to add more MPAs. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I watched this day in and day out. I was paying attention to it, and you just got to pay attention, gang. It's not a good thing. We got to do our due diligence. We got to pay attention. We got to be a part of the solution. And closing fishing for everybody is not a solution. I don't think that's a solution. I think we all have the right to use the ocean for whatever we want to use it for. Surfing, fishing, whatever it is. Closing the ocean is not going to be good. Closing the land, the lakes and the streams is not going to be good. So just pay attention, gang. Help us. And did we lose Max? Is he gone? Oh my goodness. We totally lost Max. He'll be back. I hope. He's coming back in here. But let's show. Todd Manser made us a really cool commercial here. Let's see what's going on. There's Max.
Lost you.
Oh, I was like, oh boy, Max wants more MPAs, and Max wants wolves in California. Uh-oh. All right. Welcome to the show, Max. So you've been fishing, diving, surfing your whole life. Can we get into how you got into this? And welcome, Max Fleming. And for everybody that knows, Max got a cool Instagram page. And on top of all that, you're a firefighter. And my God, if my house is on fire, I want the firefighters to show up. I want 911. We need you, and we need first responders like police officers. When I call, and I need help, I need you guys to show up. So I'm a full supporter of the fire department and a full supporter of the police department, because at the end of the day, guys, we need these people. And Max, thank you for being a firefighter, and thank you for being on the show today. I'm really excited to hear your story.
Yeah, stoked to be here. Thank you, Dave. I've heard a lot about you, and obviously growing up in Dana Point, I your family, boats. That's how I grew up. You know, it's a big part of how I learned how to fish. So yeah, very happy to be here.
Nice, nice. Well, how did you get into this whole thing? What did you start out at? What were you doing? How old were you?
So
What happened?
I've been fishing
You're
basically
breaking
my
up.
whole life. My
Breaking up. Well, he'll be back in here in a minute when he figures out his internet, when he figures out his service. Let's try it again. Try you again. What's going on with your internet, buddy?
I don't know. It was working great 2 minutes ago.
It always happens when we try to go live.
Murphy's Law. You got me now?
Yep, we got you good.
Perfect. All right. Let's see, where were we? So my dad actually grew up in the valley. And so although he grew up fishing and being out on boats and doing marlin tournaments and stuff like that, he didn't really have direct access to the ocean. And so him and my mom, when they both started their young careers, both made it a big goal of theirs to be near the ocean, so that myself and my brother, when we eventually came along, could grow up in and around the water. So ever since I was a little tiny kid, I mean, there's pictures of me, just a little peanut out on the boat with my dad. And so, yeah, I practicing casting in the front yard with them, and all that good stuff. So yeah, it basically right off the bat, he put me on a boat, he put me on a surfboard and put a rod in my hand. And yeah, grew up fishing with him. A big part of his life when he was in his early 20s was going to the Channel Islands. And so I was fortunate enough to have someone that was familiar with the Channel Islands. And I remember getting up at 12 midnight, 1 a.m. and just getting in the excursion with him. We'd tow our boat up to Channel Islands Harbor up in Oxnard and drop the boat in the water up there, get out there around gray light and get out there right as the tide was pushing back up over at More Meadows and get some really fun surf in, and then fish our way back home and make it back for dinner that night. So that was kind of our MO. We would just do strike missions. And yeah, that really instilled a deep love and drive for not only surfing, but being on a boat, being on the water, and yeah, fishing. So that's kind of how I got started off in my whole water escapade.
What a great place to start out too, the Channel Islands. That place for a lot of us is magical up there. The whole thing is just magical. And like you were sharing with me yesterday, you got to surf some spots that people can only dream about. Can we talk about that for a little bit? Max, are you there? Max? He slipped away again, gang. He's going to get back in here in just a second. I don't know. The internet's screwed up here today for Max. And he's in Dana Point, our hometown, gang. I don't know what's going on. Here he is. Maybe? No, not yet. Check out his Instagram page here while we wait for him to jump back in here. But Max grew up surfing and fishing the Channel Islands, like Sonny and Dave Bacon that we have on the show with us all the time. That area up there is just magical. There they are cruising around at one of the, I think that's Catalina, but that Channel Islands area up there, to be a kid and growing up at the Channel Islands and going out with your dad and doing all that cool stuff and going and surfing some of these spots that you can only dream about. I can't wait to get Max back on here in a minute and talk to him. I think he got to surf Chinese Harbor. I'm pretty sure he got to surf at Prisoners Harbor, up and down the front side, back or up and down the back side of um, Santa Cruz, San Miguel, Santa Rosa. And then he also got to surf at the ranch, which, if any of you guys are familiar with that area up there off Santa Barbara, the ranch is kind of a magical place where they do a lot of really cool surfing. And if your board touches the beach there, you got to get your stuff and get back in the water. You're not allowed to touch that land. That's kind of sacred up there, the ranch. As we wait for Max to get back on here, Elliot will just show you through his Instagram page and show you all the great pictures and the great videos he has on there, which is what drew me to Max. As I'm trying to find new guests to come on the show, I'm always looking for something interesting. And his story, his fishing, his whole thing was very interesting to me. It kind of made me latch onto him and check it all out. And I just kind of scrolled through this Instagram page as I was looking. And we're very, very lucky to be there he is. He joined us again. What in the hell's going on there, buddy?
I have no idea.
But you're on your phone now, so we won't
Yeah.
have any problems.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi just straight up said no internet. So now I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Is it better if I go this way?
So, yeah, there you go.
There we go.
So you were surfing and fishing at the Channel Islands. Some of the places that you got to surf, can you talk about that for a while when you were a kid?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to, be able to say I got to surf out there, and yeah, some of my favorite spots in the world are out on those islands. But, one of the more popular ones is More Meadows. It's on the southwest side of the island, and it to me it feels a lot like surfing at Trestles. It's very similar in the way it breaks to surfing either the inside at uppers or maybe even a little bit more like lowers. But it's just a fast, fun, kind of punchy wave, and it's a place where you got to boat in and anchor up, paddle on over to the lineup, and typically it's not too crowded. It in recent years has definitely been getting more and more crowded, but when you pull up and there's only a handful of boats and the surf is 3 to 4 feet, it's incredible. So
It's got to be kind of magical jumping in the water from your boat and paddling into the lineup instead of having to paddle through the lineup to get out there, right?
oh yeah, it's great. You don't have to deal with duck diving any waves or anything like that. There's a lot that you can accomplish not having to do when you're paddling out from the sand. Like, for one, your hair stays dry. It's pretty nice. You don't get that ice cream headache every time you duck dive a wave, when it's freezing out. But it is a little bit sketchier, I feel, when you're swimming into the surf from the boat, going through all the kelp and all that stuff, versus coming out from shore. You feel a little bit safer. But it's a ton of fun. I love surfing off the boat.
Well, like I used to try to describe it to people when I was young and we were doing it a bunch. It's going to be totally different than what everybody's been used to doing because you're paddling with the waves. You haven't really seen how it all sets up and everything. So
Yeah.
you got to kind of figure it out as you're in the wave already. You already got to. So then you start to see, and if no one's done it before, kind of experience what that
Hmm.
experience would feel like for a lot of us that don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like you're saying, when you're paddling out to surf from the shore, you're looking at the wave. You can see the layout of the break. You can see, oh, okay, there's a small rip current here. I can use that to my advantage to paddle back out. I can see which way the current's going. I can see, if the wave is breaking like it usually does, or if it's a little bit different today, if the sand's moved, why. There's a whole lot more that you can see from the shore than you can from a boat. But, you know, once you learn a spot and you've surfed it there enough, you kind of understand, like, okay, these are my normal spots that I sit at. This is how I call it triangulate myself, right? I look on shore, I have my my two little markers, and I know if I'm sitting right here, I'm right in the perfect spot for where I like to take off, right? So for me, I've figured those spots out for myself, and um, yeah, so it isn't as nerve wracking as it probably was when I was a little kid first started doing it, but yeah, tons of fun.
And then also, besides all that and the coolness of being on a boat and surfing, then you jump back on the boat and you're going fishing. You go have a
Yeah.
nice session in the morning before it gets windy, and then you go fishing in the afternoon. So you got the better part of both lives, and you get to catch some pretty cool fish at the Channel Islands. That white sea bass fishery out there is incredible, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's let me see here. No, I'm still on my phone. Okay, perfect. I'll just play it off this because it's working better.
Yeah, you're working fine. It's good.
There we go.
Don't do anything crazy now.
All right, perfect. um, I'm sorry. What was the question? That just totally distracted me.
Oh, no
Squirrel.
problem. So we were talking about surfing, and then you climb back on the boat and you get to go fishing, and the sea bass
Right.
fishing, the calico bass, all the stuff that bites at the Channel Islands, you get to be a part of. You just spent
Mhm.
the morning in the water, and then you're fishing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember probably the most memorable time was we went surfing more meadows, surfed for like 3 or 4 hours. I was just toast. My arms were like noodles at that point. We get back on the boat, we start driving back home, and we just come across these bird piles. And it's like, oh, you know what? There might be something underneath them. First cast, scrambled egg, surface iron. Got like a 20, 22 pound yellowtail. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, best day ever. Literally just got out of the water after getting Great More Meadows with barely anyone around. And then straight into catching a yellowtail on a surface iron, which I believe is the most fun way to catch a yellowtail. And so, yeah, it was one of those days.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's an
cool.
that's probably my favorite way to catch those fish too. But to come out of a great session of surfing and then to just climb onto the boat and stumble into a bird school, how spectacular is that?
Oh yeah, it's insane. I mean, as someone like yourself who spends a ton of time on the water, you know that it doesn't always just happen like that. There's a lot more work that has to go in usually than just, oh yeah, I'll just hop on the boat and 10 minutes later you're pulling on a yellowtail. It's pretty awesome. So
And then over at the channel, you basically were surfing at Santa Cruz Island, right?
yeah,
You know,
correct.
you never made it out to Rosa or Miguel. There was no reason, huh?
No, I haven't gotten it to line up for myself to get those places good. Usually I'll stick with just getting to Santa Cruz Island, and if the surf's good there, I've surfed there more so. I feel more comfortable with the breaks around there than I do out at Rosa and Miguel and all that stuff. So
Have I'm just going to ask this real quick. Then we're going to talk to Todd Manser for a minute. Jump right back in with you. But
mhm.
out there at the Channel Islands, are there? I'm just asking for everybody that's watching. Is there a lot of white sharks out there?
uh yeah, I would say there's a higher chance that you'd run into them there than at most other places that you would normally surf along the coast. I don't think it's like super sharky, so to speak, but I've definitely seen them. Like you see them a lot in the channel. You see them because you're on a boat, you have more time on the water. You have a higher chance of seeing them, I think. I don't know if it's necessarily there's more of them out there, even though I've definitely seen a good amount out there compared to being on the boat further down south, like out here in Dana Point or out of San Diego. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you see one and you're like, okay, do I want to get in the water still? How far away am I? How fast can it swim to get over there? Are there more of them? So yeah, it's one of those ones where if you see them, it's like, oh, maybe I'll just fish today. you know?
Right. At the end of the day, though, they really don't want to eat us. We're not on
No,
the menu.
absolutely not. But
It's
yeah,
that
it's
first.
just one of those things where it's like, am I willing to put myself
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get way more into Max here in a minute, but real quick, gang, Todd Manser and we put together this video here for you, the guys to watch real quick. Just watch this real quick and we'll get right back into this.
Hey guys, Captain Todd here with McCarty Yacht Group and Manser Marine. Guys, I'm down here in Dana Point Harbor and it is beautiful. Guys, I just want to let you know if you guys are interested in buying or selling a boat right now, you can give me a call at McCarty Yacht Group. My number is 949-547-7748. We helped some beautiful people get into some wonderful boats this summer, and we're hoping that you give us a call so we can help you get through the entire process. It's not always as easy as you'd think, and you need somebody like us that has the experience to get you through it, from putting in offers, getting you through surveys, and getting into that final acceptance. If you guys are interested, give me a call at 949-547-7748. And hey guys, if you're interested in management, we have some spots open for yacht management, and this is a full service yacht management. We take care of the ins and outs of your boat so you don't have to. Make sure it's turnkey at any time. If you guys are interested, let me know at 949-547-7748. I look forward to hearing.
Yeah, Todd's always full of a lot of information, and also he loves his phone number to read it as fast as he possibly can so you guys have a hard time getting it. But check out the QR code at the bottom of the screen, gang, if you want to check out the yachts, or if you have a boat you want to sell, or if you need management, like he said, keeping your boat ready to go when it's your time to go. Check out McCarty Yachts and Manser Marine for all your, and I'll leave it up there, the QR code for all your needs. They got you covered, gang. So check out McCarty Yachts and Manser Marine. So Max, now you guys are surfing and fishing at the Channel Islands. Did you ever get to go inside to the ranch and surf in there?
Yeah. I've surfed the ranch a handful of times. I'm fortunate enough that my uncle has a very small fraction of an acre, and he's had it for, I think, 35, 40 years. And yeah, was able to go with him a couple of times and go surf the ranch, and he's introduced me to a couple of spots up there, and it's yeah, this is magical. It's one of those spots where a very few select amount of people get to go and surf it, and if you're not in, then sorry, you're not going to surf it. And yeah, it's pretty incredible up there.
Oh, absolutely. I have a lot of friends that tell me stories about back in the 60s and 70s going up to the ranch and doing all that stuff. So just kind of let everybody know where the ranch is located at, gang. This is a magical place, but they're not selling any land anymore there.
Yeah, no, it's just north of Santa Barbara. So it's the Hollister Ranch. I believe it's 20 or 30 miles of pristine coastline, and it's all just basically farmland, large acreage, ranches, stuff like that. And yeah, it's a completely gated community, and so there's security at the front that you have to show proof that you live there, or at least in the car with somebody who lives there. They don't hand out guest passes. It isn't like you're going to, you know, go into your friend's neighborhood around here. Like, you have to have that person in the car with you. And yeah, if you're not with someone who lives there and you're caught on the datum, if they take care of it, the locals will. It's one of those spots where, like I think Dave and I were talking about earlier, it's if you can boat into it, you can get there by boat. But if your leash breaks or something like that, you better go and get your board quick and get back out in the water, because it can get pretty pretty sketchy up there. But it's great for many reasons.
Yeah, if there's any type of swell at all, gang, they're going to know you're there, especially if you're on a boat and you're anchor. They're going to know. They're keeping an eye on you. And like Max and I were talking before we went live, if your leash breaks or something and your board ends up on the beach, you got about a 2-second window to go grab that sucker off the beach. They're not real tolerant to anybody coming in there and surfing from boats either. It's kind of a magical place, and it's been that way forever. It's cool that it's privately held like that, so that the developers couldn't get in there and do anything, because a lot of people wanted to develop that back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. They still want to develop it, but it's never going to get developed until somebody wants to sell it, and that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's very rare.
So now you guys grew up there at the Channel Islands. What brought you down to the Southland? Because now you live in Dana Point.
Right. Yeah. So I grew up in Dana Point, 27 years old. I've been here my whole life. My parents moved here 3 years before they had me, so they've been here for 30. And yeah, it's one of those places that they always knew they wanted to live at. It's pretty central to basically everything that my dad enjoyed doing. And so he ended up working very early on with Quicksilver, and then with Rusty and O'Neill. He's been in the surf industry his whole life. And so for him, it was very central to not only his location of where his office was, but also into what he enjoyed getting to do, which was getting to surf and fish. He liked going down to San Diego, dropping the boat in the water down there, going down into Mexican water and fishing, and dropping the boat in the water here at Dana Point, being able to tow it up to Oxnard, and still being central enough to work so that it would all work out. And I'm here, and I've been here ever since, and I'm spoiled. I can't leave.
So did you go to Dana Hills or did you go to San Clemente?
I went to Dana Hills.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The Dolphins.
Yes, sir. The Dolphins.
Yeah. I was a Triton.
Uh-oh.
I was a Triton back in the 70s. Oh yeah. It was crazy times back then. I remember we went in there once and we hung a dolphin up on your flagpole, a real dolphin we found on the beach.
Oh, that was you guys?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I remember hearing about that one because I was on the water polo team, and so that was big talk. Did you guys put a dolphin in a pool also? Was that true, or was that all made up?
I don't know. The 70s and 80s were kind of a fog to me, so I just remember hanging the dolphin on the flagpole we found at the beach in San Clemente. So other than that, I don't really know what was going on back in the 70s, to be honest to you folks. But Dana Point, how about our San Clemente guy, Sam Darnold just won the Super Bowl. That's crazy, right?
So awesome. Yeah, it was great getting to watch him. It's pretty cool. I played Little League with him, and it's funny, like I don't know him personally, but it's crazy seeing a familiar face and someone who's from basically your hometown make it to that big of a stage. So it's very impressive.
Absolutely. We were rooting him on. My sister kind of threw some different graphics up on the boats in Dana Point and named the Clemente, the Sam Clemente. It was kind of cool. Yeah, so we're celebrating our 55th year in Dana Point Harbor. 55 years in the harbor in Dana Point. Pretty amazing time. You've watched that harbor kind of grow, right?
Absolutely. I mean, just my short life here, it's there's already a lot of change that's been going on, and it's all changing a lot right now. And at first I was pretty aggro and anti all the change, but and the docks look really nice. There's a lot of good things that are happening down there right now, and I love this harbor. We were just talking about how amazing Dana Point Harbor is because it is so small and intimate. It's just you can really feel that it's a tight knit community here, and that harbor is the perfect harbor just to take a pass around if you were to paddle around the harbor, or there's so many little spots to go and fish in as well, and it's just quick and easy. So that's why I love it here.
Yeah, I went to school for a little while, Tim Ogilvy. I did. something's wrong with your mic right now. I don't know what's the deal, Max. It's like breaking up, kind of spotty. Do you hear that, Elliot? Do you hear the same thing I'm hearing, or is it you guys out there in listening land?
I'm hearing it over here. It's a little crackly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, maybe it'll get better as we go on. So you're in Dana Point. That's the best harbor on the California coast, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe because I grew up there, but maybe because it's so close to the ocean, you're out there fishing or surfing in 5 minutes. You take your guys' boat down to Trestles and go surf down there off the boat?
Yeah, we do that too. It's nice sometimes, especially when the traffic sucks, going down through San Clemente, just to take the boat down there and then fish our way back up. Another nice thing is when the tide's low, you don't have to hobble over the rocks too. So that's always the worst part about surfing uppers is when that tide drops out. It's that that microphone is. Let me see here.
Yeah, let's do.
Let's see. Does that work?
Yeah, you sound way better.
Okay.
Nope, now you sound bad again. All right. Let's throw up some cool videos of let's just look at the pictures of Dana Point and stuff. Some videos of Max. Max is a firefighter now too, which is really cool, gang. If you guys, you know how much I support our first responders and our war heroes, and I was very excited to have Max on here. And we're going to talk about how he's moved into the firefighter world. I think he's been a fireman now for 5 years or 3 years, something between 3 and 5. I'm not positive, but he's going to let us know here now. Are you there?
Hi.
There you are.
Can you hear me? Does it
Yes,
still sound crappy?
Kind of a little chopped up, but it's better.
Yeah.
So what made you become a fireman?
Let's see. I have a whole bunch of reasons.
Okay.
I think for me, I always knew that I wanted to help people. I didn't really know in what regard or how, but I knew that I wanted to create a career in helping others. And so it all started from a young age. I think it was kind of instilled in me from doing junior lifeguards as a kid growing up. I always idolized the lifeguards that were the instructors, and I always wanted to be like them. And then when I was 16, I tried out and I got hired by OC Lifeguards. And so there I was, my little red trunks, and I got to actually help and make a difference in my community. Down here in Dana Point, Salt Creek Strand, South Laguna Beach. And I did that for 8 years, and I got to do it as the best summer job ever, going through high school and college. And I eventually did it full time after I graduated from college. And through that, I met a lot of people that were either firefighters or trying to become firefighters. And I was able to do a lot of ride-alongs. And at the time, I was in college studying biology because I wanted to be a doctor. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And through actually working in a medical office and being in hospitals and then going to the fire station and doing ride-alongs and being on the fire engine, the fire trucks, I realized this is way more up my alley. This is definitely something that I, Max, could picture myself doing for forever. I couldn't imagine being indoors. I knew I had to make a career where I got to be outside. I never knew it was going to happen. And the schedule is incredible as well. I mean, it's a big adjustment from working a normal 9 to 5 job. You know, we work 24-hour shifts at Elliot City, which is the department I work for. We work on what's called a heli schedule. So it's 3 rotating platoons, and it's basically 3 alternating 24-hour shifts followed by 4 days off. And so if you could compare that with your normal calendar, right? I would work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I would be off for 4 days. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And that just repeats for the next 30 years of my life. And so with that, I picture myself as like the ultimate weekend warrior, because my weekends are 4 days long, and I have a much bigger window and opportunity to go out and fish, hopefully getting some better weather days. Maybe the moon phase is a little bit better than it was the day before if I, had some crap luck fishing. But, that's kind of what led me to want to go down that route of firefighting. And I'm very, very happy I did.
Yeah, so am I. I'm very happy that you're a firefighter, because that's a big deal, and we need a lot of really good men and women to be in that industry, because I'll tell you what, when there's an emergency, I want someone saving my ass. That's for damn sure. And so we've skipped over the lifeguarding, which was a huge part of your life for a long time. Can we talk about that for a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Lifeguarding was, I think it set the foundation for who I am today. And, lifeguarding and salt life all kind of happened at the same time. And I was salt life, I was 13 or 14 years old when I first got involved with salt life. And I originally did that with stand-up paddling. I raced stand-up paddle competitive level. From that, I was able to fully encompass what they viewed as a young waterman. And with lifeguarding, I also made that at the time, my career. And so I was able to surf, fish, dive, paddle, and lifeguard. Like everything in my life was water when I was growing up. And being able to get paid to go down to the beach and, body surf and surf on my breaks, that was the dream. And it was amazing. I was able to do that for 8 years. I worked my way up through the ranks and became a supervisor and then a division leader. So I was one of the guys that you saw driving around the trucks. I got to participate in our dive team, and so scuba certified as a rescue diver, and get to search for missing swimmers. Was a rescue watercraft operator, driving the jet ski. I participated in our training with that. There's a million different small avenues that are very niche that I was able to go down through lifeguarding. And all of those things, I got to see all the specialties that you could go into as a firefighter. For LA City, we have an array of fire boats that we operate in the port of Long Beach. There's helicopters, there's rescue divers, there's swift water, there's so many different things that I was like, you know what? I could do that, because I know no matter what, I'm still going to be able to be around or in the water, and I have options. There's no dead end. If something changes, I have the ability to practice, to train, to test, to promote, and that's something that I think really instilled in me that work ethic and that drive to involve myself in so many things.
Yeah, sitting on the tower and just looking at the ocean while you're watching all the people, and you're in charge of taking care of them, but just sitting in that tower, you got to see some pretty spectacular things over your 8 years in the lifeguards. I'm sure some spectacular fish, some spectacular whales, some spectacular dolphins, just stuff that nobody really knows about. What was like one of the coolest things you ever saw in the tower when you were working as a lifeguard?
I remember just a few years ago, I'm sure you remember, when the bluefin tuna were literally right off the beach. I remember that first day, I think it was early in March or something like that. I went out with my friend Nathan Benj, and we were out there, and we had ended up just going down, I think it was about 15 or so miles off of the domes, and we had ran into just foamer after foamer of bluefin. And I remember that was like that first day of like, what the hell are all these bluefin doing here so close to shore? And in the weeks following, they came in even closer. And I remember sitting at work, being in the lifeguard tower at Aliso Creek, and just seeing a football field sized foamer of bluefin tuna from the tower. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, it was the coolest freaking thing. And yeah, I remember pointing it out to all my buddies that were down on the beach, like, there they are. That's it right there. Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, I remember in the 70s and early 80s fishing the kelp off of San Onofre or the barn kelp, and the bluefin would pop up in the middle of the kelp. Those were smaller fish, but yeah, I totally know what you mean, because sitting in that tower and seeing that foamer, that's got to be like, oh my God, I want to be anywhere but right here, right now. I want to be out
I
there.
know. Yeah, Murphy's Law. I was just sitting there like, wish I had my rod. I could probably cast to him from here.
Right. Yeah,
But yeah, it was crazy.
That would look real good, the lifeguard fishing while he's watching people's lives.
Yeah,
So
multitasking at its finest.
one of our good friends, Brian, he was a firefighter. He's retired now, but he has a question, Max. How are
Sure.
how are your cooking skills at the firehouse? Does your captain and crew expect you to cook all the time since you fish a lot?
So the only thing I know how to cook is fish, and that's because there's no cook involved. I serve it raw and everyone's happy. So to be honest, it was funny. Growing up, I never really cooked that much. If anything, it was like pasta, super simple, right? Which in the fire service we view as a low effort meal. And so that's the thing that I didn't really understand, is that, becoming a firefighter, if you're the cook that day, that's your job. Your job is to put two great meals on the table. And, the guys will let you know if it was not a great meal. And so I had to get good at cooking real quick. Thankfully, I had, a freezer full of fish, and that helps out a ton. So, yeah, I love making poke bowls. I love doing seared sashimi. I always come in with something, whether I'm making fish tacos, poke bowls, seared sashimi, just steaks of bluefin. I make sure all the guys are happy. So, yeah, that's probably the highlight of fishing for me, is being able to share what I catch. And, on top of that, now I get to practice my culinary arts and stuff like that, and really show the guys like, hey, not only can I catch bluefin, but I'm gonna make it the right way. And there's a lot of people that either are not familiar with eating fish, going to sushi restaurants, stuff like that, and it's pretty cool putting a smile on everyone's face, being like, wait, we're paying how much for this meal today? It would have cost how much if I went down to the sushi shop down the street? Like, that's my favorite.
Well, first of all, you're never going to get the bluefin quality that you and I get on a daily basis. You're never going to get that at a sushi bar. By the time it gets to that sushi bar, it's touched about 300 people's hands, and then you finally get it. I'm just going to tell you a real quick story, and then we're going to get into how we should do this, how we should get our children into it. But I was working on a boat once, took a couple of people out fishing, and at the end of the day, we caught a couple bluefin, and I was sitting on the back cleaning them at the dock for the people, and I was like, "Here, try this. Get a little soy sauce and just try this." She goes, "Nope, nope," and I'm like, "Why?" And she goes, "Because I'll only eat at our sushi bar because we know the chef, and his tuna's way fresher than yours." And I'm like, "No, it can't be." I go, "You guys just caught this. You just caught it. You know how fresh." Or she had a big argument with me. Their tuna is way fresher. And I was like, "You got to be out of your mind. Can't argue with that." But
That's crazy.
one other guy, another one of our members wants to know: did you swim competitively at school?
Yeah, I did. I did water polo and swim at Dana. Yeah, that was a really fun time of my life, was being able to, swim. And I think that experience swimming really helped me out as a lifeguard. I always grew up surfing, right? And with surfing, you're on a shortboard, your chest is always up, and you're paddling like this. Now, when it comes to swimming competitively, you have to have your head down. And, I don't think I would have been able to swim for more than 50 yards if I only surfed beforehand, just because of like being in the water without the flotation, all that extra stuff. That swimming experience really helped me out. I love getting to do that.
Absolutely. It changed when you don't have to hold your head up and you can just paddle. You can haul ass. You can swim like the dick. You can swim like a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot, before you run out of here, Elliot, if you already can you throw up the Salt Life website real fast? And then we're going to talk about that because you've been a part of Salt Life your whole life, pretty much. I mean, it goes back to when you were a little kid, and what they're doing for the world of watermen and waterwomen and the whole thing. And the first responders are a huge part of Salt Life, and you being a first responder for a long, long time. Talk about Salt Life for just a few minutes, and then we'll get into how old should you be before you get on the ocean, because I think this is super important.
Totally. Yeah. So I've been with Salt Life since I was about 13 or 14 years old, and they have been amazing in terms of my growth as a waterman and, really just being there for the community. I remember doing the Battle of the Paddle, and then when Salt Life took it over, it was a huge deal. Seeing just the way that Salt Life has progressed coming over here to the West Coast. I know that they already had everything dialed on the East Coast, and getting to see them grow over here too is just incredible. And now that I'm a fireman, I'm helping out running this event called the LA City versus LA County Firemen's Fish Off. And Life is now taking a huge role in adopting that event as well. And so they're one of our large donors for it. They're giving us T-shirts and fun stuff that we get to raffle off at this event. And and really just show people, kind of open people's eyes to the whole world of fishing. So now with the fire department fish off, there's really experienced fishermen that are firefighters, and there's maybe some firefighters that have never done it before. But either way, we're going to go out there, we're going to have a great time, and we're going to get to raffle some stuff off when we get back. Now, we'll circle back to that, but in terms of, helping kids learn how to fish and how to be around the ocean, junior lifeguards is a huge part of that for me. I remember being a little guy, like 8 or 9 years old, and running around on the sand and doing what we called the vitamin, which is like your big final competition, and feeling so accomplished at how much I've learned about ocean safety and how to never turn your back to the ocean, how to read what's a rip current, how to tell where an inshore hole is, where a wave is breaking that I don't want to be near, when to go under a wave versus over it. All the stuff that I got to watch for 8 years as a lifeguard, watching grown adults in their in their full clothes going in the water and just getting pummeled. I'm like, oh, there's a better way to teach people from a young age of how to be safe around the water, which also relates to fishing, right? How do you operate on a boat? How do you make sure you're being safe when you're on and around the water, when you're dealing with hooks, you're dealing with, there's so many different things that, unless you're raised by a dad or a mom who teaches you how to fish, from a very young age, a lot of people don't have that experience. So with that was also being down at Dana Wharf and going on the Reel Fund for like my 12th birthday party, and just having all the deckhands, people with crazy amounts of experience because they do this for a living, teach you how to tie all the knots and teach you, oh, how do you hold this fish so that you don't cut your fingers up in the gills or you don't let it bite you, all that fun stuff. It's just a huge part of what got me here today.
Well, I think it's super important to be in the junior lifeguards. I think it's important if you have children, gang, and you're not into the outdoors, and I understand not everybody is, but you know what? Give your children a chance. maybe find someone like Max or someone in your neighborhood that likes the outdoors. Send your kids to junior lifeguards. It is an absolute life-changing event. Get them into the ocean. Boys or girls, it does not matter. But you know what? It does matter that we get the young people involved, because that's our future, and that's what's super important. And Max, you can't give back enough. I know you're constantly giving back in the fire department. We're giving back in the lifeguard department, and now you got an opportunity to give back to the children, which is super spectacular, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with that too. So giving back to the kids, giving back to the community. There's something that I'm a part of now, which is the LA City versus LA County Firemen's Fish Off, and it's been going on for 27 years now. And it's basically a way for firefighters to give back to the community and try to make a difference for burn survivors. And so this event was put on in originally in 1999 by Captain 2 Ruiz, and he's taken something that originally started as just camaraderie building between firefighters, and he's partnered up with the Grossman Burn Foundation. And with that, all of the proceeds go to burn survivors. There's a group of Grossman Burn nurses who pick 2 burn survivors and 2 children. And at every one of these events, we take those 2 burn survivors and we have them come up in front of everybody, and we reward them a couple of big checks, just something to help out. We give away, there's so many things that we are able to do for these people to help them, whether it be sending their kids to camp over summer or helping out with school funds, scholarships, all of this stuff that we are able to not only have a great time fishing, but also have a great time knowing that we're doing this for a good cause and giving back to the community. So
Yeah, I think it's incredible. There's so much out there that salt life is involved in that we don't even know about. And that's what brought me to you, was the give back. That is so important in my life, and what we try to do on a daily basis with the war heroes and the veterans and the first responders. So I'm so glad that I met you, and that you're doing so much for your community, which at the end of the day, it's just helping out people. That's all you're doing, is just helping out people.
mm-hmm.
And you don't even know, most of the time, you don't know you're helping because you're having such a good time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the great part, is not only do we get to have a great time firefighting, but outside work, we get to all have a great time, just having great camaraderie out on a boat. There's about 150 of us that go out on this trip every year, and we go across 4 boats out of Long Beach, get to surf, or sorry, not surf, excuse me, fish for an overnight trip. And it's great camaraderie. It's a great time, a lot of good food, a lot of good people, and it's all for a great cause for the Grossman Burn Foundation. So,
Yeah. So, guys, just remember, all of this takes the community, takes money to do these things for all these people. And the firefighters are doing this so that they can help people. And you can get involved also. Anybody out there, you guys can get involved. You can donate to this. And Max, can you tell everybody how they can donate to this?
yeah, of course. You can reach out to the Grossman Burn Foundation, go on their website. You can donate directly to them on there. If not, you can reach out to me and I'll get back to you with how to donate and get those funds to the proper place. For us, we're in the process of putting out our flyer right now for this year, so I don't have the exact link, so to speak, to get that funding to them right now. But we're working on putting this out there, blasting it out there. And for all of us, if you're a firefighter in Southern California and you want to be a part of this competition, then please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to get you this flyer. And it's about $275. That covers your ticket onto the boat. That covers dinner. That covers a t-shirt, and also gets you some raffle tickets. And we're going to be having a great time fishing. We're going to raffle off some really cool stuff that's donated by Accurate Reels, Syndicate Fishing, clothing by Salt Life. And you know, we have a lot of really fun stuff that we're able to donate out to you guys, and all the funds goes right back to those burn survivors.
And just let everybody know one last time, what is your Instagram page? That's where everyone's going to find you, right? We lost our producer. He's got to go look at his new house that he's moving into, but how can they find your Instagram page? What are we looking for?
Of course, yeah. My Instagram page is it's Maximo_. So MAXIMOO_. That's my Instagram.
And then you guys can send him a private message on there or message him on there, and then he'll get the information to you. I'm not going to ask you to give out your phone number because there's a lot of people that would call you, and I give out my number, but that's a different story. But Max, I want to thank you very much for being on the show today. I hope you enjoyed yourself, because we all enjoyed learning all about you and learning about the give back that you're doing on a daily basis, which is so bitchin'. And I really appreciate you, and I want to thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
And gang, turn off the news. Oh, wait a minute. One more question before we go. Were you fighting that fire last year, the Palisades fire, or were you in the Pasadena fire? Where were you?
Yeah, so with the Palisades fire, I wasn't at the Palisades directly. I was backfill in Hollywood. And so what ended up happening was it was my day off. I was at the gym with my girlfriend when I got the text. I went into work at 7 p.m. the first day of the Palisades. I was there for, I think, 6 or 7 days working in Hollywood. And while everyone was over at Palisades, I was itching to try to get over there, obviously, because I wanted to go do my part. But what was crazy is we have 106 fire stations. 40 of them didn't have a single resource at them because they were at the Palisades. And so while the Palisades is happening, there's still all of the emergencies that are going on within the city. And so we were operating on, 40% less of a fire department, trying to do the same, if not more, calls because of the extreme weather we were experiencing. Like, I remember pulling up to a structure fire, and typically you have 2 engines, 3 trucks, battalion, 2 ambulances that go to these structure fires right off the bat. They were sending a truck and an engine, and maybe, if you were lucky, a battalion chief to a full-blown structure fire. You'd show up and be like, okay, here we are. I need 2 additional task forces. And they go, okay, you're going to get engine 220. They have a 20-minute ETA. And you're like, oh, perfect. But we made do. We made it through, right? And where I was working, we had the Sunset Fire, which was up in Runyon Canyon in the Hollywood Hills. And I believe we stopped it just under 60 acres. And so we were able to, thankfully, not lose a single home in the Hollywood Hills while we were experiencing that extreme weather. So it's something you probably didn't hear about, and very fortunate to have been where I was, because the rookie who was working that day actually still alarmed that fire. He was the one who actually saw it and called it in. He was taking the flag down at 5 p.m. and he looked up in the hills and took a big sigh, just like he does every day, like, get me out of here, And he ended up seeing the flames from the station. He was like, oh, crap, here we go. And so that's how that all happened.
Oh, my gosh. I'm glad I asked that question. Oh, my gosh. Crazy, crazy, crazy. You guys think we all know what's going on out there, but that's a great story, Max, there was a lot of other things going on besides the Pasadena and the Palisades fire, and you were right in the middle of it. Always thank your firefighters and always thank your police when you're out there in public, gang. They're doing the very, very best they can do. and they do it on a daily basis where we don't even know what you're doing, which is totally super cool, Max. So thank you again, everybody that watched the show today. Thank you all very much. Do yourself a favor, share this with your friends and family, and this will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Threads, X, Rumble, Facebook, forever and ever and ever. So check it all out, gang. Thank you very much, Max, for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.